Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Venezia, head trader for TradeView Markets. It is Monday morning, July 26th. It's getting late. We're getting into the crux of the earnings season. And, this is what it's about, okay? Uh, I want to talk about, I'll go to the normal routine, if you will. But there's two types of trading going on right now. There is the big caps, and there's the buy and hold, if you will, and there's the stocks that you can predominantly day trading in. I've been finding that the majority of my peers, myself too included, to be honest, are having a little bit of trouble with this type of swing trading, if you will, buying and, I'm not saying averaging down, starting to build a prudent position and waiting for things to turn. And as the VIX died down a little bit, it had a nice pop last week, but as it died down a little bit, I'm finding myself falling into one of these traps, if you will, of these lessons that I always preach. It's a hypocritical game. We all know what to do, but sometimes we don't always do it. Sometimes you might have an extra Heineken that might give you a hangover that you weren't supposed to do, but you still did it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't know what's in comparison. Maybe you had an extra piece of cake. You know what I mean? It's human nature. We all did it. And the reason why I say this is because when the VIX is this low, and once again, I'm going to get to the visuals, but the reason why I'm talking first is because I don't want anybody to get distracted from my words, because they're profound more than ever right now, especially with these percentage moves and earning season. I mean, we have Tesla tonight. That says it all. So what I'm finding is that us pros are starting to piece out of the winners and hold the losers, thinking that the swing is going to at least get us out. I'm not averaging down into submission, but I'll use an example like Diddy today. And once again, not to be redundant, it's the last time I'll say it, I'll go back to the visual. But that's what I wanted to say. I hope those words sank in more than anything, okay? So here we go to TradeView Markets. The division, or if we're going to go to right now, is Tradegate Hub. I sign in the same way. It's very easy. It's very simple. There's no secrets. Just log in. You go boom to my room, stocks, indices. Obviously, you want to be in the main room as well. Thank you, Coach, always as well. Good morning to you, Daniel, brother. The same information is in the main room as the stocks room, but mine is more concentrated on the indices. So once again, let's go. This is where we started the day. Always good morning. If ever, be smart and watch Mike Santoli's video. You know what? I'm even going to take a little bit more of our time, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you could hear this or not, but I'm going to give it a shot.
A very different feel from the last 2 days. Prior couple of sessions, we had just an all-inclusive buying binge, a huge rally, very broad. In fact, two extremely broad days in terms of the percentage of all the activity that was on the upside. Sort of usually one of the strongest stocks today, one of the strongest stocks the last couple of years. KKO.
All right.
And it definitely
you get the picture. All right. So that's why I posted. If you haven't heard it by now, you have to get on to it. It's not an ego thing. He gives you a great dissertation and synopsis right away as it's happening about a macro and a micro view of what's going on in the market. He speaks to traders. He speaks to investors. He speaks to Joe Sixpack, if you will. Get to listen to the videos. It's a great refresher instead of reading articles. Okay, so we started tactical sentiment coming in a little bit hot. Keep that in mind. Fear and greed over time. Okay. It was a fearful week. It was a difficult week, if you will. Although nobody would think so. Apple's breaking an all-time high. Yes, so is Microsoft, and so is Google, and so is Amazon. Well, Amazon's a little bit off the high, but we'll keep going. All right, the S&P. We started here. We're probably a little bit. We'll look at the SPYs again. We'll write this down. So once again, this is a tool. We're not trying to call tops and bottoms. This is a tool to get rid of some of your longs, not necessarily to put on shorts and go against the market. This is a tool to piece out of your relative strength longs. Same with the NASDAQ here. I also use the world sentiment. Oh, this is the sector sentiment. You have to get the, okay, energy. Let's give this for example, way oversold coming into today. What else is oversold? Oil producers, way oversold. Okay, so let's go to the new share. I share my screen. And I'm giving you a sneak peek. There's energy right here. Well, they were up a lot nicer, but they're all up what? FANG. What's FANG? The old FANG. It's up 2%. CPE was up 42, was up 3%. It was up 5%. So once again, I actually have to block my screen because I get distracted if anything moves. And trust me, the P&L sometimes swings a little wilder than we like to, but it is lunchtime. So always, once again, thin movement at lunchtime. We don't get dismayed by anything. Okay, dismayed by movement. So the oil producers came in high. Technology, no surprise, has been strong. Pulled back a little bit. There's nothing I'd really want to short on a bounce. Financials, same thing. Oh, excuse me. Okay, we're all dead to seize. All right, right here, I gave you a little indication about commitments of trader positioning. Go over this. This is where traders are positioned. Like, for example, what's extreme right now? Everybody is underweight gasoline, overweight CHF. Those are, we also give you, these are also the Forex. Man, that's good. I have to go over this a little bit more myself. This only gets posted once a week, but this is information I have to disseminate a little bit more. I'll do better. Let me get going more. Okay, so I post these. This is the Bank of America Bull and Bear indicator. I post it every Monday. The hot option plays. You have to actually punch this up a little bit or enlarge your screen. Also, I look at data deck for this week, Goldman sentiment indicator, this week's news this morning. I think it was posted about 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30. And why? A couple of upgrades. We give you what Kathy Wood's doing on every day. So you can follow that Twitter feed. Upgrades and downgrades by our boy Wally Bloomberg. Once again, blow it up. Coffee ripping. That might have to do with something with Tim Fury. You might be familiar with him. Sava, get to know it, has range. And here I give you Friday's top movers. Once again, write them down. Snap, Roku, Google. That gave you a hint about right there. Obviously, if you're listening to this video outside my family, I'm being facetious, but still you know that the Chinese stocks, I want to talk about Billy. I want to talk about Tal. I want to talk about Diddy, the new IPO, as well. This morning's movers, no surprise. They followed through. They're down 25%, 13, 20% each, these Chinese stocks. All right. So what I said is it's there for all, if all any info is set on the table. The data is consistent. I do it every day. So please always feel free to ask. Now, what I wanted to talk about is two types of trading that's going on right now. There are stocks that are moving. Oh, let me change my screen. Oh, let me give you an example of what's going on today. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. So, for example, when I finish doing the video, I'll go here. I'll look at my top list. Okay, big poppers, the top right. Here I double click. These are the stocks that are on the high. So I'm interested in Mattel. TripAdvisor got upgraded. AMC has a bounce. It might be a dead cat bounce, if you will. So there are not many stocks on the high right now. Coin is in the middle of the range. What's been moving up the last 5 minutes? See that volume percentage, 5 minutes? All right, Aon. So workhorse right now, I have my eye on, even though it's lunchtime. But what's going down? Nothing. So we'll go back to what's strong. Now I'll look right here in the middle. Large range. I'll look at FUTU. What a trade that was. I missed it too. You know what? The bottom line is these are what's going on today. I'll also look at the alert list. I'll have some bullish strategy. Baba's coming in. Look at the Baba. You know what? Let's go right to the videotape, as Warner Wolf would say. Where's Baba? Let me share my screen. Where's my quote? Baba. Pull back nicely. Look at that. Tal went positive for a second. Tal. Let's look at Tal. Is this working correctly, my screen? Yeah, it is. Tal. Diddy. This is what happened. See that $1,500 on Diddy? I came in long Diddy. P Diddy. I sold it this morning. I'm actually going to show you. Can I move this? No, you know, I'm not going to show you. Look at today. We'll look at today's chart. Even in the morning, let's go to after hours trades. Where are we? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to chart parameters. We go show outside of data. I sold some Diddy at 4 o'clock this morning. At 8. I went back to bed, and I had a lot of it. I went back to bed. I woke up, it was 6:47. Now I'm saying to myself, okay, there are smart people out there. No moron is going to wake up and sell a stock at the quadruple down movement. I only had it because I had it overnight, and I'll take a 20-cent loss. So I'm saying to myself, this stock is probably going to revisit this 8 because there are smart people out there, believe me. As a matter of fact, my former boss, if you will, Stephen Schoenfeld, and has said that the majority of trades that you initiate before or after the opens, if you will, the proverbial 9:30 and 4 o'clock Eastern, wind up wanting to be losers. And you know what? I guess if I woke up at 4 and I checked my positions, I saw Diddy. By the way, this is Diddy. And I bought it because it was third day down from 11 to 6. I'm taking a chance on that. It's a trade. I don't think Diddy's going to go back to the IPO price. But you know what? The stock's trading 50 million. Traded 150 million on Friday, and it went from 10 to 8. The stock's trading 150 million shares. It has a 25% range. And for 3 days, it's had a range from 11 to 6, a 50% range, averaging 50 million. I got to be in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have to be in it. Doesn't mean long, short, whatever. So the bottom line is, so I'm looking this morning. So I'm like, all right. So then I wake up I wake up from my nap, if you will, and the stock's 657. I'll be honest, I have 20,000 shares or something? But how can I share my screen? What's going on? Trust me on this, believe me. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm a genius. And then when I knew that it would eventually pre-test the 8. So now let me take this off the pre-market. Now, Diddy. By the way, this looks like the spot here, do or die 806, obviously. So now I'm like, all right. So once Diddy got to about the 789 print at 945, I took it seriously because it was going unchanged. Listen, if the stock is getting pummeled and for 3 days down goes from like a down to $1 to almost unchanged, believe me, it's going to go positive. Very, very rarely do I see stocks flirt with going unchanged and don't go positive, at least on a short squeeze, on the short term. So that was my Diddy trade. Now, you're going to have to be, let me clear my trend lines here. You're going to have to be on Tradegate Hub, and that's not because I'm enticing you to be on Tradegate Hub. I don't know how I'm going to approach this trade now. You know, the trade's over for like the meat of the trade, but then what I will do I'll go here and I'll look what's moving. Let's look at my large range movers. JD's on the low and Bob is on the low. Let me make sure if I'm doing this correctly. Okay. Here we go. All right. So now Diddy. So why am I going to mess with Diddy, which by the way is going down as we speak, when JD and Bob are the best of breeds are on the low? Go-to is a turbo breakdown. It's coming in a lot. What's going on here? Let me look. Yeah, I can just look future. You know what? Mattel. Now Mattel's hanging at the high. That does nothing. Something's going on with JD. When something's in yellow, JD's going down 5. Now let me give you an example. This is JD. And why my queries here are good and why I want to help you guys do the same thing. JD, when we started the video at 11, was 68. Stock went from 68 to 67. Now I look at that. I know Diddy's going down. P. Diddy. I started the, I was up more money in it now. But let's see what the market's doing. Market's going up. But I guess there's rotation. Let's look at crude. I can tell already what's going on. I don't have to look at quotes. Apple. How you doing? What else do I have? Right. So I'll also go to the screen, and I might be jumping around, but I eventually want to have articulate. I'm trying to think out loud. So if I'm jumping all around, I apologize. I'll also go to my sector watch. Okay, what's the best sector? It's got the most green right now. 70% up, 78% up, 100% up is energy. And in the past 15 minutes, EOG has made a move. SLOB is going up, NOV is going up, and COG is moving up. And you know what? That's no surprise. And why is that? Because when we post the indices, there's no surprise that the oil producers were the most oversold. There's no surprise that was the other oils, something, whatever. Energy is the most oversold. So that's the safety route. So I'll keep going on. I'll go through my Twitter feed as I always say, UVX selling something. So what's UVXY doing? Somebody's selling puts. So that's very, very bullish. Selling puts on UVX. Oof. All right, then this is UVXY. I'll show you why. UVXY. VIX is breaking low into Monday morning. That means people are getting back from the Hamptons, if you will. Let me do a new share. I'm trying to jump back and forth. I'll get better, but anybody that's with me through the growing pains will get rewarded. BKK, that is nice. VIX crunch time. He's correct on that one. 1815 supported. This is a private Twitter feed of mine. He's a friend of mine, actually, real good guy. You actually got to go through like a process to sign up for this dude. Good guy that lives in California, but very good. He's my option. I got to the point where I only have to go for him. If I want to look what the market's doing or look what futures are doing and where it stands, thank God I have this guy to fall back on. Brilliant man. Up all night in California, and I'm here to relate the information to you. Nucor is acting well. ASAN. That ASAN right now is the number one stock on IBD. What else do we have? JP Morgan on GE. Look at that later. And then I will go to what's moving in stocks on Tradegate Hub. So I do have a pad. I write them down. New York stocks, most active by price. And what's the change? We give it to you right there. MSTR, Coin, Zoom, Tesla, great info. So anyway, guys, let me go back to Tradegate Hub to see if I have any questions. Trading room. Great, Mike. Thank you. Thank you, too. All right, I'll keep posting as we approach 11:30 Monday morning. A lot of the money has been weeded out. As I say before, the smart money is on the close. The rookie money is on the open. So as we approach 4 o'clock Eastern, please come to TGH. I'm going to give more info, more ideas. It's earnings season. Let's see briefly before I close. Who's coming up with earnings tonight? After the close, Tesla, Logie. This is really the big one, but what about in the morning? Oh, we have Apple, Amazon, AMD, Microsoft, Facebook, UPS. I like UPS in the numbers. You heard it here. That's a disclosure. Or whatever I'm supposed to say properly and not to do what I do. Whatever, I mean it, but I am doing it. So it's an big earnings week coming up. This is where the pros come out. Facebook's having sweeps here, a lot going on. Stocks are breaking high. Stocks are breaking out in the morning, as you see. So Dillard's department stores, it was a gift. I liked it too. You have to watch for Macy's. All right. So everybody enjoy the rest of the day as we approach 11:30 Eastern. Have a good day. At the very, very least, have a plan, trade well, and be prudent.